grab that playbook and open it up. Although you don't actually have to open anything up because we will tell you what the Dynasty playbook is, what moves we should make, teams that should make moves, teams that shouldn't make moves, what these types of moves are. We love talking trades here on the Dynasty Six Pack every week, of course, but we're going to put a special focus here today on some contending moves to make for your Dynasty Fantasy Football teams. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dynasty Six Pack. It's episode 45 to be exact. And I am one of your co-hosts, Kyle Senra. Joining me is one of my co-hosts, Jamie Perot. Jamie, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I mean, there's nothing like that dynasty grind, right? Like every trade is a chess move. Every rookie pick could change your roster. So let's get to work and get into it.
Yeah, I say one of my co-hosts, Rahul Natarajan, still on his little break.
He's here in spirit.
Of course, yes. We think about Rahul every episode, whether he's on screen or not. It won't be just the two of us. We will have some guests starting the next couple weeks. Waiting for Rahul's eventual return within the next month or so. But yeah, we'll get some guests on. But Jamie, another episode with just you and I to riff about some Dynasty takeaways from last season, some things we learned that we can move forward with going into 2026.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk this, and everyone just keep tuning in because we got you all summer long.
Now, 2026 has to be a huge year for Fantasy Six Pack in general, and of course, Dynasty Six Pack. But we're forever grateful for the Fantasy Six Pack, the website, fantasysixpack.net, got the Fantasy Six Pack Discord, and there's the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. You can find our show on for those listening to the audio only platform. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the feed, sorry. Make sure to like the videos, and there you can leave comments, and we'll interact with anyone who comments with us, whether it's trade questions or sharing trades or just any type of dynasty questions you have, roster build moves, player takes. Leave the comments on YouTube, and we'll all three of us co-hosts will do our best to answer them and get back with you and interact with us. So I've enjoyed so far interacting with listeners and viewers throughout different platforms, but certainly YouTube's great for that. So be sure to subscribe and comment on YouTube.
And we also have a Dynasty or a Fantasy Six Pack Facebook. It's called Fantasy Football Discussion. We got about 42,000 members. So if you're a Facebook user, come find us.
So again, YouTube, Facebook, got the Discord channel. Now, not all channels are available for free. And there's also some premium content and premium Discord channels that are available on the All Access membership. Now, you can get a discount on the All Access membership with the promo code F6PPODS. F6PPODS. Again, that's a 15% discount on the All Access membership, the F6P All Access membership, for access to everything, cheat sheets for different DFS betting for different sports. Six Pack isn't just about fantasy football. As you see on the YouTube channel, there's tons of baseball videos, golf videos, all sorts of sports covered. So you get, again, DFS betting premium content for all those sports. Draft sheets, cheat sheets for again, different drafts, various sports covered, again, all in this All Access membership. And one last thing, I mentioned fantasy baseball. A lot of the fantasy baseball people love Fantrax, especially as a website for that. But Fantrax has all sorts of fantasy sports available, including fantasy football. So we're running a promo with them through Fantasy Six Pack. So check out fantrax.com/fantasy six pack for more details. We want to get into the details of, we want to win championships. How do you win championships? What are the moves you have to make? And Jamie, out of my 9 dynasty teams, I had 2 teams win championships. And there were a lot of similarities between those 2 teams. And it comes down to sometimes specific players. I actually had 4 players that were the same on both of those Superflex dynasty rosters. And one of them's Olamide Zaccheaus, the other one's Jawar Jordan. In any case, those are you can easily just acquire them in any league, right? And that's why they ended up on both those teams, just able to pick them up off waivers. So we can ignore those 2, but I really want to talk about Well, one player in particular, but there's the two primary pieces that are really solid dynasty assets that I had on both my winning teams. Jamie, you ready for this name? I don't know if you're emotionally ready for this name, but Kyren Williams, one of
Yes.
your favorite running backs, one of
That was
even
all I
more of
did
my
last
favorite running
year.
backs.
Loved Kyren Williams last year.
Well, I did too. In fact, if remember the most rostered episode we did just before the season started, Kyren Williams was my most rostered player overall. So with enough shares of him, of course, he ended up on two teams that won. I think the common thing there was the teams where he was my RB1 didn't win. In fact, I'm pretty sure that at least one of them didn't make the playoffs. But the two teams where I won championships with Kyren Williams, he was the RB2 on those teams. One roster had Bijan Robinson, the other had Christian McCaffrey. So if you get Kyren Williams producing low-end RB1 numbers, but as an RB2 on your roster, that was kind of a league-winning recipe, at least in that case. So shout out to Kyren Williams. I know that the Blake Corum didn't quite eat into his work enough to stop teams from winning with Kyren Williams. So I'm really super happy about that. So thank you, Kyren Williams.
On the stretch, Corum was doing awesome, getting double-digit carries and viable for like a flex play. So that just shows you how good that team is.
Yeah, the amount of touchdowns they scored, just that offense, the amount of production that was available for so many players, and really not having like a third wide receiver. All the production went to two primary wide receivers, but Tutu Atwell was injured for a lot of the year, which was expected, I think, by the team to be their third receiver. So they didn't really have a third wide receiver. So they had to more production to the running backs, more production to tight ends. And so that certainly helped the team context. But yeah, how productive they were as an offense. So for Kyren Williams' sake, I guess we're really hoping that Stafford returns and everything is back to normal and another great season.
Yeah, and I did notice last year on a lot of my winning teams, they were running back heavy. So running backs did win a lot of leagues. So maybe we could talk about that today, acquiring running backs for picks.
Yeah, certainly going to talk about acquiring first-round picks. The one last thing I wanted to do before transitioning to that, Brock Purdy. And I guess the interesting thing about Brock Purdy is the games he played, he was incredible. His points per game average was another top 6 season, I believe, which he's done before. But just he was injured for enough of the stretch of the season. So you had to find ways to augment your team. And I guess that is where we get to trading first-round picks. On one of the dynasty rosters, I had Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. So losing Brock Purdy. In fact, I was planning to maybe sell Dak Prescott during the season, but then Brock Purdy getting injured, I think it was week 1 or week 2, that kind of halted that plan. I still have Dak on the roster now. I ended up winning because of it. So good thing I didn't sell Dak, but that really, so in that one league, it was a planned move I was going to make that I couldn't make because of the Purdy injury. In another league, not having Purdy, I think I had Flacco for a little bit, but then of course he loses his starting job and eventually Burrow's back. So not having Flacco anymore as a starter hurt there. Having to sell first-round picks. And I think the first thing I want to do with first-round picks, or the first thing that comes to mind, is saving your dynasty first-round picks to buy yourself out of trouble in season. Waiting to see, okay, this position I'm too injured at. I don't have any depth. I need to trade for a starter someone that I could use. So sometimes that can also mean when you're trading for need, you might not get the best value on a player, but if you need that specific position, it might be worth it. So in one of the leagues where I won with Brock Purdy, I needed to trade for Sam Darnold partway through the year. I can get into the details of that trade later. And there's multiple things I bought, not just Sam Darnold, but certainly I wouldn't been a move I needed to make if Purdy was healthy. Purdy, as long as you were able to fill those injured weeks for him, he was a great quarterback to have because, again, the weeks where Purdy was healthy, his floor was incredible. And then if you look at week 17, his ceiling also very incredible. So,
and then
Purdy for both healthy.
Even when Purdy was out, Mac Jones came in and he was viable as QB2 in a super flex.
I mean, yeah, if you handcuffed Purdy with Mac Jones, you were covered for all those games. True. That's a great point, Jimmy.
100%. But don't sell your first-round picks too early. Like right now, even in your rookie draft, because I made a mistake last year in a league where I won the championship, and I assumed I was going to win again last year, and I ended up giving up my first-round pick this year for George Kittle and a high tight end premium during the rookie draft. And yeah, did not work out too well for me. So
I think
in my opinion, like selling your first round picks is only do it when it's gonna boost your immediate production and it like adds to your title run. Am I right?
well, and that's the thing. Like, you're not going to score points in April or May. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you think, oh, my team needs something to compete right from the get go, make that trade in August or early September. Like, make that trade just before week one, knowing, okay, I'm making the trade for this player now and then putting them in my lineup a week from now.
Because
Or again,
it really can like drain that value, and it's a mistake. Like when a team isn't like a genuine contender in the middle of the season, that is a mistake selling your first round pick. So
yeah.
like
So
if your roster has like glaring holes, like aging stars or inconsistent quarterback play, or like even multiple injuries, parting with your first round pick, it's not going to magically just fix it, and it could really leave you in like mediocrity without draft capital to like rebuild going forward.
yeah, so I guess the first thing to look at is which teams should be selling their future first or not. And again, the timing of it isn't important too. But I guess that's the really first question is: do I have a team that can compete? And by trading that first round pick, it again augments my chances of getting a first round bye, helping me win playoff games. So again, if you're, I mean, I always start team evaluations with Superflex. So what's your quarterback room look like? Do you have are two unreal quarterbacks, and you can kind of make your third and fourth QB could be backup QBs potentially if your top two are studs that are locked in, or okay, you've got maybe three starters. Like those are kind of like the minimum requirements. If you don't already have that, I mean, maybe that's what you should be looking to sell your first for is to increase that quarterback position. But to your point, if I feel like I need my first just to make the playoffs, and let's say you sell that first and something goes wrong, well, you don't have another first to help yourself get there. First to end up earlier than you anticipate. So again, what your quarterback room looks like in Superflex. If it's a one QB league, then okay, the quarterback room isn't as important. But then, do you have enough wide receiver depth to get you through the year? And as you mentioned, Jamie, last year a lot of teams winning because of running back. So while it's not a say sexy dynasty position running backs because of the won't be on your roster as long as the perceived value. If you don't have like three true workhorse running backs, you're probably not going to compete in most PPR leagues.
Yeah, and you also don't want to like overpay for volatile assets, like chasing those boomer bust players and that are in like weak situations. So like, don't just force a deal just to acquire someone. Like, make sure it aligns with your contender values to win that championship.
Is that the best player you can buy for that first, right? Like, shop around, like, explore with different managers and see, okay, with this first round pick, what is the best? If you're set on, okay, I feel like I need another wide receiver to compete, look at pretty much every other team in the league and figure out, okay, what's the best receiver I could get a first from them, and then stack those receivers together and think, okay, who is the optimal? Is there a stack with the quarterback I have that pushes me towards one? Or, oh, this, there's a receiver on the trade block that probably shouldn't be. Okay, this manager might be willing to part with a higher end player more than others are. And so looking for those kind of cues and which manager you should gear towards or which player you should gear towards. But, again, if you think you need the pick to help you compete, you maybe shouldn't sell the pick. It's okay, I'm already a competitive team without selling my first. I'm selling my first to increase the chances, which is almost counterintuitive, right? Because you don't think your team's good enough, you want to make it good. And if your team's already good enough, why are you spending the first? But it's to, ensue, right? Or I'm going to sell a starter and add a first to get a super starter in that spot. Really increase the upside of that one specific starting spot. But I think what's really important, Jamie, is the timing. When do you make these sales for first, right?
Yeah, timing's very important. Just like I made the mistake last year of getting Kittle on my roster for a flex option, and it didn't work out. Now I just gave up what I thought was going to be the 112 again. Ended up being like the 108.
And I mean, you gave it, this is your 26 first, you gave up, you said before the season started, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what, like August or July of 2025?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't think that's the worst timing in the world. Again, I would say if you're gonna even wait till after a couple weeks and see, okay, where is my team relative like points scored to everyone else? And when the season is started, that's when you start trying to buy players. There's a thinking of, don't do it until you absolutely need it, which again is right before week one or even after week one started. And because up until week one, you've got all your starters. Oh, someone gets hurt, that's when you go make the sell. But I gotta say, so if you are looking to make moves right now would be the time to sell 26 first picks, though, in general, but also specifically 26 first. So, I mean, I'm sure you would have wished, Jamie, that you would have had that 108 so you could sell it right now for a better play. So, like, if you're looking as a contender to make moves, selling your current year's picks, that's a good strategy. And you kind of have to do that now because as soon as that pick is made and it's a rookie, it's less valuable. The pick is more valuable to someone if they can select multiple players with it, or they can select from multiple players with it. Oh, someone needs a quarterback versus someone else needs a wide receiver. They'll both value that 108 the same because that pick allows them either to get. But once you select a rookie, if that other manager doesn't want that specific rookie, they have no interest in trading with you. So if you want to maximize those rookie picks by, instead of drafting rookies, selling them, leading up to the rookie draft or even during the rookie draft when the pick is on the clock, that's the good time to sell current year's picks. But you don't want to be in the middle of the 2026 rookie draft and be selling your 27 first. That's where it's too early, and that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah, especially with the class next year, it's going to be deeper with the quarterbacks and wide receivers. You don't want to sell those picks.
And I'm thinking back to last year's rookie draft. Okay, well, I guess I want to lay some context. So of my 9 dynasty teams, 5 of them don't have their first round pick right now in 2026. In fact, there's one that doesn't even have it, the 27 first round pick. But not all of those happened at the same time. And I think back to last year's rookie draft. One league I was able to buy, I guess I made 3 different trades in 3 different leagues during the rookie draft, specifically involving selling firsts. Now, a couple of them were selling the 26 firsts. And in fact, the 25 firsts. One was to get Saquon Barkley. I had to give up I think it was the 110 and DK Metcalf in a couple seconds to get Barkley. In another trade, it was I think like a 108 and I think 3 seconds to get Xavier Worthy and a 26 first. And so I wanted to kick that down a bit. I wanted to that in that specific league, giving that 108 and the 3 seconds served the purpose of I wanted to get Xavier Worthy as a player. He kind of busted. It didn't meet the expectations. But what saved me in that trade is also pushing it further. I'm going to give up 4 assets to get 2 and make one of those assets I'm getting back a 26 first, which is the 103. So flipping the 108 last year in 3 seconds to get Worthy in the 103, even if Worthy's failed in the points, actually getting that 103 has made that trade probably still worth it at this point. And hoping that Xavier Worthy bounces back. But even as bad a season as he had, I'd still do that trade over because I was able to flip that first. So that's one thing you can do always too, is in some of these trades, if you can give up enough to cover both bases, like to get the points base with the player, but also still get some of that future value. I have no problem. Like, I'm not someone who devalues a pick because it's a future year. Like, I would value a 26 first alongside a 27 first. In fact, in a lot of instances, I'd probably prefer a 27 first. Because the 26 first, again, if I'm going to trade it, I feel like I have to do it by the rookie draft. So if I can, again, kick that can down further and get a future year pick in that trade, that's, I guess, ideal. Now, what I don't want to do is those are the 2 trades where it kind of worked out. Okay, Barkley didn't help me win the title in that specific league, but whatever player I would have taken at the 110 and Metcalf, I don't know that that's better than having Saquon Barkley and hoping he bounces back. The trade that I regret doing, though, in last year's rookie draft was giving up my first last year, 25 first, and a 26 first for Breece Hall. In a team where I thought, I had Breece Hall, the Kyren Williams. I've got the 1-2 punch at running back. I've got Patrick Mahomes and Tua. I've got the 1-2 punch at quarterback. That quarterback room not nearly as good as expected, right? And that was in a 14-team league, not strong enough to have sold the future first. So I missed the playoffs, and that picks I think the 106 or I think that's the 106.
So that's a trade that may not have worked out for you last year, but looking forward, depending on where Breece Hall ends up, you may look back on that this year and say, yeah, that was a good trade.
True. I mean, depends on who goes at the 106, right? I mean, and to be fair, Jimmy, I already sold Breece Hall anyway, as it became obvious. So I wanted to recoup some value. I flipped him into Devontae Smith, so it's a receiver. I think he can. And I think I managed to get a second out of it. So
the 106 right now would probably be like Casey Concepcion or a Boston or a Jadarian Price. So I'd much rather have Breece Hall over all them.
Fair enough. But I would say that's an example of the team where I probably shouldn't have traded my future first. And again, maybe to your point, the player end up at 106, 107 isn't better anyway, and I'd rather have Breece Hall regardless. But that felt like if there was anyone where I regretted doing it, was that one. And again, what I heard about that trade is giving up the future first a full year out on a team where it felt like I was making that trade to help me compete as opposed to already being a contender and adding something to help over the top. So that's I guess the flaw in the process, right? That would be an example where I shouldn't have made it.
That's exactly what I did with Kittle, and I regretted it.
But now we know, and so now the listeners get to benefit from our mistakes, JB, and those are kind of examples. So each manager has to evaluate their own team to be honest in that evaluation to say, is this a good idea to sell the first or not? But again, right now, you shouldn't really be. I don't want to be selling 27 first right now. I'd rather focus on. If I'm going to trade away anything, it's trade the 26 firsts. If I got to dip into a 27 second, okay, maybe that. But I really want to save those 27 firsts. Where those trades happen that I want to make again is leading into the season and just before the season starts, and again leading into the season. I think of again in the FBC Dynasty League where I won, Jamie, that you and I are in. It's one of those leagues I talked about. The Kyren Williams trade, that was something I made just before the season started. It actually didn't even cost me a first, but it was I had to sell another running back in a couple seconds and to cheer up to get to Kyren. I can't exactly remember who it was, but it was. And I mean, the team I traded with, Dylan, they made it to the semifinals as well, so they still benefited from that trade. I think they were strong at running back, and they felt okay to sell Kyren because they were so strong at running back. And for me, it really worked out because I won the title. But that was something that I did August, maybe a week or two before the season started. And that's when I was kind of looking to make those trades. I look at 6 of my 9 dynasty teams made the playoffs. 4 of those 6 teams did not have their first round pick. And I went down the list of who were the players I bought for those firsts. I already mentioned, again, the league where I had Brock Purdy and I needed to buy a quarterback mid-season. For a first, I bought Sam Darnold and Dalton Schultz in the same trade. And I needed a starting quarterback to cover for Brock Purdy. And Dalton Schultz became my tight end 1 the rest of the year. So he filled out I basically got 2 starters for 1 first round pick. I even got a second round pick for that too. So managed to get 3 assets. That was a good way to sell a first, even if Schultz for a first or Sam Darnold for a first. Darnold in super flex, I suppose that's fine, but it really did feel like the collection of getting multiple starters was worth the first. I look at other players. Jahmyr Gibbs and Kenneth Gainwell in a big trade where I gave up multiple firsts. Quinshon Judkins in a trade for a first. Puka Nacua in a trade for a first. And I'll get into the details of the Judkins and Nacua trades in a little bit here, but for the most part, it's the high-end assets you want to buy as well. And then we can focus on, okay, who are the players worth buying for a first? And Kenneth Gainwell and Dalton Schultz probably aren't, but if they're involved in the trade with other players, that's worth giving up a first. But make sure that first player is say better than Kenneth Gainwell or Dalton Schultz, to be fair.
Yeah. So we want to talk about what trading for injured players. Are we?
Well, and that was And so I again a couple of those trades, Puka Nacua and Quinshon Judkins were trades that involved injured players. So yeah, great transition, Jamie. I guess I suppose I should have transitioned us there. But,
So let's talk about that framework for trading for injured players, and I'd love to hear what you did.
Well, and trading for injured players or away injured players, right? Like the dynamics involved in when a player is injured, what type of transaction should you be making involving them?
So I have a formula for this, if you want to hear it real quick. So
Yeah.
I believe it comes down to three things. It's timing, risk, and discount, right? So trading for injured players in a dynasty is actually one of the best ways to gain value if you do it right, because it comes down to those three things. So for timing, you have to buy when the injury news first drops and everyone panics on the guy. And then like that's when the price really does tank. So don't wait until the recovery hits, because that's when the value shoots back up.
As soon as there starts to be positive news, teams are less likely to part ways with that player. You're right. You know,
100%.
Dynasty typically favors the teams that are aggressive and make the moves before it's comfortable to make the move.
So you want to buy the dip, not the comeback tour. And then there's the risk. Like, know what you're buying. Is it ACLs? Depending on like the age and the role of the player, is it reoccurring soft injury tissue? Like the soft tissue, or is he a speed guy? Like, those are bigger red flags to me for those speed guy types. So like target young players under the age of, I'd say, 26 to 27 with like actual real production before the injury, and he has like a clear path to like a comeback in that same role. Now with the discount though, here's where I gain value is if you're getting like a 30 to 50% off of their peak value, right? Like that's going to be worth it. Like, you could use calculators at the time, but what I like to do is I always compare to what they were worth when they're completely healthy. And then I would like to get 30 to 50% off of that value and try to pay less, obviously. But like, I think like these moves do work best when you're like a rebuilder for the younger guys, or like a true contender that has depth to your roster. So like buy the dip at the peak discount and then cash out later, like either with the another trade or just getting those max points on your roster at the right time.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you said it, rebuilders are the great position to take advantage of that value. I mean, and injuries do happen in the off season, but so many of them happen during the season. And when those happen, if you're a contending team and you feel like this is your year, you probably can't afford to have that zero on your bench and not gain any value from it, right? Better off to sell that injured player to get a healthy player. And I know a lot of people, how do you go about that? And I know, okay, I'll start with the player I wanted to start with was Malik Nabers as the first example. And I know that this discussion came because it happened early enough in the season. I think it was week 3, week 4. So many people tuned in. And when this happens, you have the whole season in front of you. So big decision to make that could affect, well, frankly, multiple seasons or an entire dynasty career. But what happens with Malik Nabers, right? So when he gets injured, he tears that ACL. I see a lot of tearing down. What's the level of player you're willing to take, like an even trade with Malik Nabers, even though, this other player before the injury would have been valued a lot less than Nabers, but now because of the injury, you're choosing to equal it down. Losing some value in the injured player, but again, that rebuilder buying that injured player, if they ever bounce back up, you're hopefully gaining value. You've bought it at a dip. I actually prefer to go the other way if you're a contender, and I'm looking to, and so I've got a few moves I've made with these players that when they got hurt and they're on my contending teams, this is where and the two ideas, trading your first as a contender and trading away injured players, I combine the two ideas a lot of times, and that's what I'm saving my first for is in season, the future first. So last year, 2025, that I would be saving the 26 first for, this player got hurt during season. Can I add a first to that injured player to cheer up and get an even better player that beforehand I probably wouldn't have given a first to make their difference value? But now that there's an injury, I'm willing to do it, and I'll lose some value that way. So either way, when you're trading away these injured players, you are going to lose some value. And it's just choosing which direction you want to lose that value in. And the forms I often took with these trades is I want to cheer up. I want to get an elite asset. And so even though this, in this case, Malik Nabers is injured, he's still viewed as an elite dynasty asset. So I don't want to tear down away from him and get second tier players or just below the elite tier. I want to still be shopping in that highest tier possible, even if I have to add that first to that player to get it into a trade that I wouldn't otherwise give it first. So that's enough theoretical. I can get to a concrete Malik Nabers trade if you want, Jamie. But any thoughts about that?
I was going to say, like, how about Malik Nabers and a first for Jamar Chase? Malik Nabers and a first for JSN. Would that be too much?
No, I do not think this is exactly what I'm talking about, Jamie. So in this league I'm in, this is actually funny. I referenced this league earlier. This is the same league where I traded my 25 first and DK Metcalf to get Saquon Barkley. So, with Saquon Barkley on the team, you're leaning, and Josh Allen at quarterback, for instance, that's leaning a win now build. So when Malik Nabers gets hurt, I'm not thinking, I want to hold his value and let it rebound. Like, no, I want something right now. So I think I think it was that week I essentially did what you said. Okay, what could I add? I'm going to get this first. This now 26 first. Add it to Malik Nabers. What's the best receiver I can get? And I went and I sent a lot of DMs to the people who had I went right to the top. Yeah. Who's got Jamar Chase? Who's got, like you said, JSN? Who's got Justin Jefferson?
Puka.
Exactly. And ultimately, a first in Nabers wasn't going to get Chase. It was going to have to be multiple first in that particular league. That doesn't mean that was going to be the same thing in every league. That person that had Jamar Chase, I'm pretty sure drafted him in the startup, just selling him at the highest peak. I'm not selling him unless it's a mass overpay, right? I can respect that. So it's all about finding who was willing to make that trade. Well, the manager with Puka Nacua was willing to listen. So I sold Malik Nabers my 26 first and my 26 second to get Puka Nacua. And
see, I think that's a massive overpay, in my opinion.
On my part,
you had to do what you had to do.
Yeah, and again, that's so and the other thing, the other direction you could have gone to is tear down from Malik Nabers to get
Tedero McMillan.
Yes, I was just about to think of the rookies, right? Ibuka or Tedero McMillan.
So Tet in a first for Nabers.
Maybe. I almost wonder if that would have been that would have maybe been a really great trade to make as a way to preserve value on Nabers. I'm thinking more like McMillan in a second for Nabers. Like, are those the type of trades that people were willing to do when Nabers was hurt? And maybe someone was willing to give up a first with McMillan.
I mean, you could start with a second, but if it's going to be a late first, I think McMillan, who I have at like wide receiver 9, 10 in Dynasty,
around there too,
to get a neighbor like injured Nabers, who I have at 5. So I'm jumping up that tier to give up a late first. In this class, it's kind of weak. So I think that's kind of a fair trade.
Fair enough. But again, that wasn't my preference, wasn't to move down like that, right? Maybe the fact that I'm hesitant with you right now shows what I'm trying to do, though. I'm trying to maintain that
we want to move up
high-end asset as possible, which is why I was willing to, again, make that move for Nacua. And again, for that elite tier, whether it was Puka, JSN, Chase, that seemed like that was the best deal I was going to get. Like, I wasn't really, unless I was willing to get multiple firsts, I wasn't going to get any of those other receivers. So I felt it, I mean, again, I didn't shop for multiple weeks. Like, I wanted this trade done that same week that Nabers got hurt. So I shopped around for maybe 2-3 days. But in those 2-3 days of shopping, this was the best I could come up with. And a lot of times, as a contender, you've got to make that choice to, again, lose that value. But now I've got Puka Nacua. So, and again, it's what the fear for me is, is Nabers now in 2026 coming off the torn ACL? Is this going to maybe be a down year production-wise? I don't have to worry about it now in that particular league because I have Puka Nacua, and now it's just the hope of the quarterback.
I also believe the Giants are going to draft a receiver, like a Lemon, with that first-round pick. So that
would make Wandale quite sour.
Yes, but that could also move Nabers down a little bit. So you moved up a tier to get that Nacua. if you're gonna throw in like 2 first on top of Nabers to get a Nakua, I would try to get back like a second or even like 2/3 just to get a little bit of draft capital back and
Or
see
get a second player, right? Okay, I'm buying not just Chase, but I'll buy another starter as well. And that's how you get Nabers and 2 first to be sure. Yeah, if there was something else involved. Like I said, that in that particular league, that manager who had Jamar Chase seemed very unwilling to do it. They were a contender as well, right? And so I think the team I traded with like Puka for Nabers, they weren't as strong as a contender. And for them, it's thinking, oh, not only do I bank Nabers, now I bank an extra first. As a rebuilder, again, you find that. So sometimes you're limited on which elite player you could buy because some of the other elite players are on teams that are contending and unwilling to take on that injured player.
Yeah, and you want to be aggressive. You definitely want to be aggressive with trades.
And it would seem aggressive to add a first to Nabers, right? Like that seemed like an aggressive move. But again, that's what I was willing to pay. And clearly, as I paid it, a first, a second, and Nabers to get Puka Nakua at the time. That's what I was willing to do, and I still stand by it. I didn't end up winning that league. Got to the semifinals. I think I finished 4th. But again, like I'll still take like I think you do too, Jamie. We both have Puka Nakua ranked ahead of Nabers right now. So just flat out would rather have him at the cost of a 109, maybe not. But even if it's an overpay, like I'm still happy to live with that. And I'm still happy I made that trade.
And then another example of buying the dip on players, like Tucker Kraft. He's coming off of an injury, right? He got injured, I believe, week 9. He had surgery. He's out 9 to 10 months, right? So with that timeline, you think he's going to be completely healthy for the start of the season. But if you didn't get him right now, I would throw out offers. Just throw out your seconds, your 2026 seconds for that type of a swing that could win you leagues. So you're betting on the talent and the situation of him bouncing back. And I just think that's a great opportunity. And if they decline it, throw out 2 seconds. Give them 2 seconds.
Well, I'm wondering because tight end might be a position that it's tough to find a ton of starters. Maybe it's you have to give one of your starting tight ends and a second. And maybe some upgrades like that, right?
Like that I said it in the last show. I think that I actually have Tucker Kraft ranked in my top 5 tight ends in Dynasty, even with this injury. Usually, I know the history shows with that type of injury that they do take a dip, but with modern day medicine, I think he's going to be fine. At least maybe he won't be as good the first 3-4 weeks, but going down the stretch, he can be a top 5 league winning type. And if you're only giving up 2nd round picks for him, that's a league winner right there.
I've got him at tight end 9. And I know for me, it is earlier about the risk you talked about, like play style, right? Like, and to be fair, he is a tight end that is more reliant on his speed, especially for his yards after the catch. So that is why I guess I'm a little concerned with, with his, what his effectiveness is going to be. But like, let's say, I know you like Oronde Gadsden.
I love Gaston. Yes.
Would you give up Gadsden in a second to get Tucker Kraft?
Geez, I don't think so because I have Gaston at tight end 7.
Okay. And, I guess maybe that's because I'm at 12
5 for me. So
how about this one? Because the guy I've got right behind Gadsden is Theo Johnson. Would you give up Theo Johnson in a second?
Oh. Yes, I can because
I
love Theo Johnson. I love those athletic tight ends, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, in theory, you're trying to buy one with Tucker Kraft, who's shown as good as Johnson's produced this year. You've shown like elite production from Kraft.
Theo to me is worth like a late second around last year where we got Mason Taylor, Terrace Ferguson. I even prefer Isaiah Likely over Theo right now.
I think in this year's class, I don't know how many good tight ends there are, but I would probably rather have
4 that I would really like to target. But 2 of them are going in the first round of rookie drafts. I'm staying away. The other 2 are going late second, early third, and I'm going to get myself a bunch of Trig and a bunch of Jolly.
Fair enough. I think I fall with like Theo Johnson. Maybe should be more mid-second, but okay, we're talking semantics here. If he's essentially valued as a second, Theo Johnson and a second, that's how you get your 2 seconds, right, for that value for Tucker Kraft. Those are probably the ways I'd like to acquire Tucker Kraft, to be fair. Even with the injury risk, it's okay. I'm Theo Johnson, I think, is risky. It's a high upside chance let's say the Giants don't get another wide receiver and Wan'Dale leaves. And, his biggest competition is Malik Nabers with the torn ACL. Like, Theo Johnson could be in line for a big increase in role. But at the same time, they could also add competition, and he doesn't increase his target share from this year. So risk reward from that standpoint in terms of how much work he gets. I guess I'm willing to take a risk that maybe Tucker Kraft has still higher upside. So those are ways, I guess, that'd be a way to buy an injured player.
So you wanted to talk about a running back that is on the same team. Would you like
the Neighbors? Oh yeah, and Theo Johnson. There's all these guys. I mean, well, I guess, and this is going to change to a couple running backs. So, did you want to say anything about Jaxson Dart before?
Just go buy him, man, because I have him around QB 10, and some people might not look at him as a top 10 QB. So I would buy the dip on him.
I've got him at QB 6.
I mean, yes. So 100%.
Give me those rushing quarterbacks over those pocket passers.
So I have him at 9.
I've seen a lot of. He's a third-round startup pick.
So I just can't put him over Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, and Herbert, Caleb, Daniels, Allen, May. So that's why I have him.
Well, I mean, I definitely have him ahead of Caleb Williams. Not gonna lie.
I just think Caleb's gonna smash this year, and he's gonna be a top 5 going forward. So if you can go buy Caleb cheap, go buy him.
Maybe. I think he took a big step up this year, and I think he still finished as the QB. I want to say it was like 13 or 12 in points per game.
I thought it was
big step up, really. Really? Oh, okay. Not in points per game. Maybe I think QB 5 and 12.
I mean overall.
Yeah, because like I'd rather have
Brock
Purdy.
Was 7. Points per game, he was 7.
This isn't supposed to be a Caleb Williams thing, but I'd rather have Brock Purdy than Caleb
Williams. I go through 18 weeks. I know we end in 17, but I also include week 18 just because it's still a week.
It's for a small sample size like football. You want to take every game you can. I usually tend to include week 18 as well, but again, I typically go with points per game, right? He was looks like what?
He was number 7, 19.1 points.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, that's what Jalen Hurts scored, right? So to your point, maybe I shouldn't be so harsh on Caleb, but I also think this was the step up here for Caleb. Will he fall back down? I don't know, but
I love that you have Dart that high. Like that makes me so excited because you know how high I was on Dart last year.
And Dart's points per game, it's kind of skewed because they include 2 games that he didn't start. So if you remove those 2 games, officially his points per game is 17.6. But his true points per game, if you in points per start, it was better than Caleb. It was closer to like where Brock Purdy is in the 20 point per game range. So, based on like just his starts that he had, Dart produced amazingly. So, I'm viewing him. He's like people probably view him as a 3rd-round startup pick. I think that's a full round below. Like to me, he's a borderline 2nd, almost 1st-round pick kind of guy. But I mean, again, QB 6 is probably close to a 1st-rounder typically.
So you also wanted to talk about Skattebo on the same team. Like his current timeline really does say that he's going to be 100% at the start of the 2026 season. For me personally, I would give up the 105, 106, 107 currently in this rookie class to get Skattebo. And I know that injury happened. I can't remember when it happened.
Halfway through the season, right? Like it was.
Yeah, but like during the season, you probably when he got injured right away, like I said, that's when you want to attack. So you could easily probably gave up your 2026 second to get a Skattebo who just got injured
after just taking him in the 2nd round, right? And so whoever drafted him in the 2nd round probably
I got him in going for 2 staff league. I got him at the 212.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think of the FBC Dynasty League, Jamie. I don't know if you remember seeing, I traded Chuba Hubbard to get the 206, I think it was, and then a 26 second. And that's why I drafted Cam Skattebo.
There you go. Yes.
And so in that particular league, when Skattebo got hurt, this was actually, unlike the Malik Nabers, like my record was pretty good. So I felt, okay, when Skattebo got hurt, I think I was on let's say it was week 10. I think I was 8-2. So I was on a pretty good sense. Okay, I'm going to make the playoffs. I didn't feel like I had to sell Skattebo right then and there. So I kind of waited. And just before the playoffs started, that's when, okay, who's healthy and who's someone that I can go out and sell. And so this is a funny chain of events. I sold Cam Skattebo and my 26 first to get Quinshon Judkins and the it was a Topher, our other co-host on the Sunday morning show and Going for Two Live, get Topher's second. I end up winning the league, so my first was the 112. Topher's second was the 205. So for, again, a 6-spot move down, pivoted from the injured Skattebo to Quinshon Judkins.
I like that. I had a trade where it was during the offseason when the news hit that Judkins was possibly getting suspended. So I offered my second-round pick in every single league, my second-round pick for Judkins. One guy accepted it, and I thought it was going to be a mid-second, but unfortunately, it's the 201 because we have a tournament at the end for the people who doesn't make the playoffs. They play to get the first-round pick.
And your team was too good that you end up winning the
my team was too good that I won, and now it's the 201, but I'm still willing to give up Judkins straight up for the 201.
Yeah. I mean, Judkins would be the RB2 in this class, it seems like.
I mean, I would take him at the maybe even above Jordan Tyson. Possibly.
I mean, we'll get to rookies in a bit, but yeah, I've already started the profile. I don't know. I really like Jordan Tyson. But I think
I'm saying that 105, 106 area right now would be good for Judkins.
Well, you see, and I guess I view Jordan Tyson as a little higher than the 105. I think that's the issue there. But also, if Judkins wasn't injured, it might be different. But it's the same story as Cam Skattebo, because just a couple weeks after I traded for Judkins, he got hurt too. So I'm already out of my first round pick. But if you remember from that Skattebo trade, getting Topher second, that was a token I was able to use to add to Quinshon Judkins. Now, this one for Dynasty Move, this trade happened week 6, because I think Judkins got hurt in the semifinal, like week 16, I believe. And somehow I survived and won my semifinal matchup. So going into week 17, championship week, I sold Quinshon Judkins and that 205 to get Chase Brown.
Oh, I love that. I love that because I look at Chase Brown right now as being like a 103, 104 in this rookie class.
Interesting. So you value Chase Brown ahead of Judkins?
Oh, yeah.
Right now,
yes.
And I do too.
You know, on a win-now team, you want Chase Brown on a win-now team. Go grab him. They're not adding anyone else in that backfield. They're going to use him.
Well, I mean, they did last year and it meant nothing, right? Like, so they could add someone and it still doesn't mean that Chase Brown's losing his job.
Exactly.
I made that move for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to win the championship. You know what? Chase Brown smashed that week. So I'm really glad I did that. But 2, like knowing that Judkins and then before Judkins, Skattebo, knowing that both those guys are injured going into this year, I feel right now I'd rather have Chase Brown on this team than either of those running backs. Now, next year, that might be a totally different story because Chase Brown won't be on his rookie contract anymore. Maybe Judkins and Skattebo, either of them return healthy and makes it look like, okay, at 27, maybe I'd prefer to have those guys. But I felt from a 2-year standpoint, I was happy pivoting off both those injured running backs, one after the other, to get the healthy running back right now. So just, again, combining both ideas, right? How do you either trade away or acquire injured players and trading away your first? So a lot of times for me, it's one and the same. When I get a player that's injured, especially a highly valued player, I want to add a first to that player to get an even better player.
Yep. It's all about the timing that you do it, the risk, and the discount. Got to factor all 3 of those in.
Now, one last player I wanted to touch on. And it's the thumbnail player. We haven't mentioned his name yet, so it's weird that we're 50 minutes in. We finally get to talk about Bucky Irving here. But for anyone who remembered my nomination for Trade of the Year last year, for those who don't, I'll review it right now. But I made this trade when Bucky Irving had that foot injury. And I sold Bucky Irving and Chase Brown, who at the time the Bengals offense wasn't looking good. And I threw in 2 first-round picks and 2 seconds to get, I think it would end up being 4 players, but the 2 biggest pieces were Jahmyr Gibbs and Kenneth Gainwell. So 2 guys I could go in my starting running back spots for the rest of the year, essentially. But yeah, it was, again, pivoting off this injured Bucky Irving and willing to pay full price and to get Jahmyr Gibbs. And again, maybe, I know you and Raul seem to think I overpaid there. Gibbs certainly helped me maybe would have helped me more in week 17 would have been nice, but I did get to the championship for the first time in that league history. But unlike these other running backs, Bucky Irving's injury wasn't nearly as serious. Like he returned to play. So it looks like for 2026 from the get-go, Bucky Irving is essentially considered back to healthy. So this is one where I could see myself regretting this maybe a little more easily than the others because I'm expecting struggles for both Judkins and Skattebo. But Bucky Irving, I actually think, unlike all these players that got hurt last year that we've talked about, he's someone I think I want to buy the most out of all these players. I don't want to go buy Malik Nabers right now because I feel like he's really expensive and I'm buying an injured player. But like for Bucky Irving, he's probably really expensive. You're probably paying top 10 running back prices.
Yeah,
but I could see his value taking a boost, returning to what it was as a rookie. And I think right now, so what do you think? Do you see a value bump for Bucky Irving in 2026?
Yes, because he's only 23 and a half, and they're getting rid of Rachaad White. So it's going to be Bucky
right?
I mean, again. I would definitely, I put him in a top 10 just because of that alone. I could see him having like a James Cook type year, and he could be a league winner.
Kind of like he was 2 years ago, right? And like you said, Rachaad White, we presume, is leaving as a free agent. And I think the idea of buying Bucky right now, does he increase in value when Rachaad White leaves? Or is it one of those things where that price is already baked in?
Well, I already baked it in. That's why I have him top 10.
And I wonder if that's why the question really is he the best buy right now? Yes or no? And I suppose if you can buy him for less than top 10 price, now might be a good time to buy. And then when the news that Rachaad White leaves hits, then if you could resell him for a different running back or you've maybe actualized that, okay, you've bought those points cheaper than they should have been. So from that sense, maybe it's a good time to buy. But if everyone is already baking that Rachaad White leaving price in, maybe the key is actually wait for them to sign a different running back. Okay, we're expecting Sean Tucker to just be the backup. What if they sign one of these other free agent running backs that's not Rachaad White? And does that like dip Bucky's value a little more to the point where it's even better buy afterwards? So I think Bucky Irving is a big question of should you buy before free agency or not, I think is something that
why would they add another running back when they could just sign Rachaad White, the guy that they already know? Like Peter Griffin said, oh, it's a boat, or the box could be a boat. I don't know, man. Like I love buying Bucky Irving, especially like since he's so young. But I also love buying Chase Brown. I know he's a little bit older. He's about to hit 26, so only buy Chase Brown if you are a contender. But I could see you buying Bucky Irving even in like one of those mid-tier type teams because you do have years left on him.
For sure. He's 1 year, one extra year on his rookie contract relative to Chase Brown. I guess you're right, Jamie, in that like the Bucks aren't going to sign Breece Hall. They're not going to spend more. Like if they want to bring in another running back like that, they'll just re-sign Rachaad White, right? So if they're going to sign another running back that's not Rachaad White, it's going to be for cheaper than Rachaad White. You presume that they're doing that. They'll bring in a different running back to save money. If they do that, they're probably not going to be that good to where they're taking Bucky Irving off the field like Rachaad White was to a certain extent.
Exactly. So, like, what if they go get like a Roschon Johnson? That's not going to move the needle for me. Like, I'm always going to want.
He might not even replace Sean Tucker. Like that. Like Sean Tucker might still be the backup there. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So maybe you have convinced me that it actually is a good time right now to go buy Bucky Irving. But again, Jamie, we're not spending 27 first by Bucky Irving. Spend your 26 first. And if you have to add to it, add to it. If you have to add whoever your RB2 or RB3 is and your first round pick this year to upgrade to Bucky Irving, I think that's a worthwhile move.
Yeah. So we don't got much time left, but did you want to do some hypothetical moves?
Well, sure. Yeah. And I mean, I just gave it a hypothetical move with the Bucky Irving, right? Like your RB2 and your 26 first for Bucky, right?
I wanted to move forward. So like in this middle of the season going forward.
Okay.
Say you have Nico Collins and he tweaks like some kind of a hamstring late 2026 and people start panicking and you send your 27 second and like a roster guy, maybe like a Pollard or something. Would you be willing to do something like that? Like it's about timing, right? you want to get him at that 30 to 50% discount. So like a second and a roster player to go get.
You said second and Pollard. Now I forgot the first player we were talking about. Who?
Nico
Collins, right? Yeah, Nico.
So it's all about timing, right? Like
Right.
Before all like the reports come out and he's injured, he's going to be out, and Nico Collins can be a wide receiver 1 type going forward, but you're paying 60 cents on the dollar to go get him, and that's kind of moves that I would want to do.
Okay, like selling Pollard, selling someone. Okay, this guy's a starting running back right now, but you don't see the upside there of, say, an asset like Nico Collins.
This guy can give you points on your roster, plus I'll give you my second. You give me Nico. So
and that way you get the points, but you also get the future aspect to it, right? Like you're giving that manager 2 outs on. Yeah, and again, and like a rebuilding team isn't going to do that, but certainly, yeah, if a contending. So what you have to do is pay attention when a player is injured in your league. Is that a contending team that rosters that player? They're going to be willing to give you that injury discount. If it's a rebuilder, they'd probably rather just hold. If Malik Nabers last year got hurt and the team was already 0-3, they're probably not thinking, I have to sell him to go get points. No, well, I'm already 0-3. May as well try and get the 101, right? And build. So, yeah. Look for those injured players on contending teams specifically.
Yeah, and then another like win now versus future value, a rebuilder move would be like flip Josh Jacobs for a 26 first in that 105, 106 range right now. So you're selling that aging running back for like insulated rookie value, and that's a smart asset management move right there.
Rather than get the 105 this year, I'd want to get a 27 first. Give me Jacobs for a 27 first, but assuming you can't, then I'll draft the rookie this year. I'd love to have the future flexibility. If I sell Jacobs, but somehow my team is still contending, I want that 27 first, just in case. You know what? I'm gonna go buy a player because I could actually still contend. If your team, you sell Jacobs and your team is rebuilding, okay, well then that 27 first will serve me as a rookie pick next year.
But this year, if it was the 105, I would take that. If it was the 106, I would not, because I want Tate, I want Lemon, and
top 3 receivers or a quarterback.
I want Tyson.
Yeah.
So those are the 3
it looks
guys.
like we're kind of drawing a line at the 105 right now as a tier break, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough. Okay, so if you can't get a top 5 pick in 26, you'd rather it be a 27 first, no matter what. And even if it looks like the strongest contender.
Yep, exactly.
That's fair.
A contender move, like send your 26 first plus a future third to go get Breece Hall. I love that as a contender, because Breece Hall, we don't know if he's going to be franchise tagged or is he going to another team. So right now is the uncertainty of Breece Hall, but I would still go grab him right now for a 26 first and like a third.
Because I suppose staying on the Jets might be the worst case scenario, and at least there it's somewhere we know he'll get a lot of pass catching.
Because you get an RB1
targets and
Yep. And that's for your title run to get that RB1 on your team.
And again, the potential of if he goes to a great landing spot where he's still a workhorse, but it's a better offense, you buy him right now, you'll see an increase in value for.
And that cost really isn't that crippling to you right now, giving up your 26 first, depending on where it's at.
It's just a rookie this year, or again a guy that you've seen, right? So if you're making moves right now, we've said it, like try to avoid sending your 27 first or your future first. And if anything, you could make trades to acquire those. That's the bonus.
Yeah, and like the rebuilder, they stack those picks and they lead into that timeline of their build. So that's the key right there. So every trade has to match your window of opportunity to win that championship. So you could use trade charts if you want, but always ask, am I buying points or am I buying insulation? So like you have to know your roster, then attack accordingly.
Points or future value. Those are typically the 2 things you're going to be trading for. And again, maybe you can try and find creative ways to combine both. Like I did with, sell a first this year, a bunch of seconds to get a first next year and a player. That'd be worth it. Right? And try, I get points, but I still get the future value. So hopefully we've provided a lot of great points that continue to give you future value for your dynasty teams here. So I think we've sent a lot of great message, Jamie. I don't know if there's anything else to say to the
All
listeners.
right, we can probably talk for another hour, but let's cut it out and we'll continue next week. Just make sure everyone tunes in, ask your questions in the chat on YouTube. We'll me and Kyle will hit you up, but just keep tuning in.
Yeah. Be sure to subscribe if you can to YouTube. Appreciate that. Like the videos, like Jamie said, comment under the videos. We'll reach out, interact. For anyone who asks any question, we'll answer away and or discuss, and love interacting. And you can check out the Fantasy Six Pack Discord as well. There's tons of great interactions and conversations that happen there. The website, of course, fantasysixpack.net. There's great articles, but not everything's available for free. You get certain premium content, premium channels in the Discord available only through the all access membership. And right now, if you use the promo code F6PPods, F6PPODS, that's a 15% discount again for the F6P all access membership. Well, we gave all access to the Dynasty trade playbook for contenders and rebuilders, first round picks, injured players. Man, we discussed a lot here, Jamie. I think we did a great episode here.
Yeah, we did. Dynasty never sleeps. Don't forget, you got to stay active, stay sharp, and go win your leagues. And we are always here to help you.
Can't say it any better than that. I'll just say goodbye, and we'll see you next week on the Dynasty Six Pack.